And welcome to Homo Politicus. This is Enterprise Television. Kingsley Bass is my name. Very pleased to welcome you today. Today we turn attention to a very vital part of our lives as a people, as Nigerians. Yes, you know the importance of education. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that today on the show. So welcome to the conversation. Feel free to stop by the comment section to drop your comment about what you think regarding today's focus. Yes, we're talking about the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination 2025, organized, put together by the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board. And the result for the year 2025 has been released, and JAMB has disclosed that, the annual entrance examination for candidates seeking admission into Nigerian universities, into polytechnics and colleges of education have been quite poor for 2025. Well, for this year 2025, over 2 million candidates registered for the computer-based examination and just over 1.94 million sat for the examination between the 24th day of April and the 5th of May. And looking at the breakdown of the result, according to the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, about 70% of candidates scored less than 200 of the 400 obtainable points, and only 0.63%, that's 12,421 candidates scored 300 and above, while a total of 24,535 candidates scored less than 100 marks. Well, parents, policy analysts and the rest have been talking about this and why this was the case. Why do we have this number of candidates, this huge, massive number of candidates scoring low in the examination? And so we turn attention to that today. I'm joined today live in the studio by the public policy analyst, Dr. Ojikutu Adeniyi, one who's been part of this process, not just the educational system in Nigeria, but he's been deeply immersed in this entire entrance examination process. That's the Unified Tertiary Matriculations, Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. Once again, welcome to Homo Politicus. Kingsley Bass is my name. Let's welcome my guest today, Dr. Ojikutu Adeniyi. Many thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate
It's
that.
always my pleasure.
Thank you very much. Let's get deep into this. Lots of people, socials, via several platforms have been talking about the result for 2025, and the talk around what is responsible for this level of what some persons have marked or termed failure. First, before we get into that, how do you perceive the reports from JAMB regarding this result? The breakdown in terms of the percentage number, number of candidates who scored this, who scored that.
And basically, that's a very good one, because in the past, for the fact that there are no proper statistical breakdown of these figures, we may not be able to measure performance, and we may not be able to, provide solution to whatever. Now, for the fact that knowledge is expanding, there is no way an examination board will release results without breaking those numbers down. So that breakdown will help, planning for futuristic examinations. So I commend JAMB for doing this. In the last 3 years, they've been doing the breakdown and showing to the public, and everybody has an understanding of, how the success rates were and everything. So it's a good one on their part.
Interesting, but the number of candidates who scored below 200 and below definitely cause for concern. We want to see high flyers. Yes, it's acceptable. Not everyone will score high. Several factors are responsible for that. But what do you think is responsible for this level of again, what some persons have termed failure.
Now, the first thing I want everyone listening and seeing this program to know, and every concerned Nigerian, about the educational system, is that we should be happy that this is the true reflection of the performances of our pupils. So all the candidates, this is about like 95% and above of their true academic sagacity. So if that is where we are, we understand that the level of manipulation, the level of examination malpractice is below 5%. So if that is the situation, we should be happy that JAMB has been able to organize an examination that is giving us true reflection. Now, that is, one side of the story. Their true academic capabilities has been exposed. Now, why are the candidates not performing is another side of the question which needed to be answered. Now, let's go from this angle. Who are the stakeholders when it comes to academic performance? My analysis: the government, the school management, the society, the parents, and the flag-carrying members, which is the candidates. That's the student, the children themselves.
Yeah.
Should I name them?
You said the government, schools,
the school management,
the
society, the parent, and
the candidates themselves.
So these 5 critical stakeholders are the people that we should evaluate well. Everybody should do what they needed to be done, and we'll get better results. So now, should we break what they should do and how they should go by it?
Let's begin with who you think or what you think is responsible for this in the first place.
What is because everybody has not done what they need to do.
All right then. So
perfectly. Okay. So, and this is a trend. 2023, 2024. This is 2025. The same trajectory. So when we look at it, it's not as if it's just this year that we are seeing less than 30% of candidates scoring above 200. I'm scoring below 200. No. So I'm above 200. So now it's only 25, 24, 26. We've been moving around. All this data is showing us that less than 30% of the candidates scored above the average mark. So if this is the trend, so who is responsible is all these 5 stakeholders. How they are responsible differs.
Let's begin maybe, I suppose, from your categorization of the major stakeholders involved in this. JAMB will fall under government, yes? I suppose.
JAMB will fall under government.
Fantastic. Yeah. They are the ones responsible for this examination.
No, JAMB
the examination.
JAMB is a body that government has set up to help us evaluate.
Exactly. So they are responsible for conducting the examination.
So they are not responsible for the performance.
Great.
Their own duty is to help us grade our pupils in a unified way.
Now, here's the thing though, with what you just said. Some people believe that some of the policies of the board, of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, is responsible for the low performance. For example, students had to, for some of them, leave home, for some, depending on distance to the location, to the center where they would write the examinations. Some say that the fact that they had to leave home, some the nights before, some before dawn, that morning to get to their center and to get there in time before accreditation by 6:30, 7 o'clock, that could impact on these students, some 16, some 17, psychologically.
That would not significantly contribute to low performance. And I've explained this in one of the fora before, that it is the local government that you choose, is the area that you choose that they would put your center at. And when you choose Ibadan, for instance, is a big city. Lagos is a big city. It's a city-state. So if you choose a local government, for instance, and probably they take you to another part of the local government, it might not necessarily be that it's not still the local government that you choose. Some local governments are big that you still need a couple of time to travel within your local government. So therefore, if the area you are choosing is already filled up, they can take you to another location with nobody is actually or at any point in time has a genuine proof that it is choosing a state and is being posted for examination in another state.
Under local government.
Even in another local government, none. Even in another because the implication is that on that portal, the moment the local government that you prefer is filled up, because they didn't tell anybody to pick any local government, pick where you want. So if JAMB form comes out 1st of March, for instance, and it's going to be sold from 1st of March to 15th of March, if you get your form 1st of March and you want, for instance, you want Ikeja, you will probably get Ikeja. But let's say they only have space for 2,000 candidates in Ikeja, or let's say 10,000 candidates. The moment they get to that threshold of 10,000 candidates, remember that this is computer-based, form. So the moment that 10,000 is filled up for Ikeja, it will not give you option of Ikeja for exam center. So if you feel you cannot write the exam in Ikeja, you can choose the next local government that you feel is comfortable for you.
That exactly is the problem too, because some parents will say, how do you send a child to this
because
location?
You are not filling your form. They didn't send a child. JAMB did not send a child. People, when probably your preferred location is already, filled up.
Yes.
You have the option to fill the next most comfortable location.
That's exactly my point.
And the implication is that it is something that is programmed and planned. So you cannot say that. So that is to say that if you are not spreading those centers across the state, if because of the fact that we're giving an example, is for the fact that majority of the candidates are picking the central city or maybe the capital city, Ikeja, as it were in Lagos. Let's say 2 million, let's say 500,000 candidates wants to write JAMB in Lagos.
Yes.
And out of that 500,000, let's say 200,000 is choosing Ikeja. So the moment Ikeja is filled up, they cannot put all those 200,000 in Ikeja alone because we have 20 local governments and 37 LCDAs. So they still want to take those exams as far as Badagry, as far as Ibejuleki, as far as Ekpe, because they want it to be spread around.
Because we have candidates there
we
to
have candidates
to register.
So the implication is that there will always be congested, locations. The same thing with Ogun State. Maybe Abeokuta will quickly be filled up. Maybe in Ibadan, the central city, Bodija, maybe in Port Harcourt, the central areas, the city centers will be filled up than the rural. The same thing in Sokoto, the same thing in Bayelsa. So the implication is that Yenegua, for instance, might be filled up and they might take you to the next local government. It does not mean, or that is not to say that JAMB intentionally want to do you bad. It's because the form came out, for instance, the form comes out on the 1st of March. You are not filling your form and it's closing on the 15th of March.
Yes.
You are a late board. You are filling your form 14th of March. So you will only pick areas that are still left. And for the fact that there is a couple of time, you already know the local government you're choosing. So therefore, what you need to do is to know where you're going to sleep that is closer by, because already that state is your preferred state.
That's one plan, and that could work for those who have the resources to get that done. How about the plan to create more computer-based centers to accommodate these city areas? Isn't that something JAMB should be looking to do?
JAMB, you know that the people running JAMB are professors. So it's difficult we can suggest to them, but most of these things, they understand. Now, in the coming years, they will have seen the trend. and they will have been able to probably accredit more centers. And more so, you are talking about accreditation. The accreditations will only come by with people they can trust and people that they know that they have the credibility to conduct these exams. So it's not a just normal jamboree for Tom, Dick, and Harry to just say, I want to own a center. So they have their verification process, accreditation process for centers. So all these factors are things they will put in place.
All right.
So therefore, people should not even associate performance to examination time. None of the exams was when you started 6:30. What they said is exam starts 7:30, but be ready. Make sure you get to your center 1 hour before.
But we know what that could do psychologically to a candidate who's maybe not mature enough for the purpose.
Because the exam is not a theoretical exam. It's an optional exam. That is an objective exam. So therefore, cognitively, in terms of knowledge and picking the right answer from the options, I want to tell you that it's not likely to.
All right,
it's not likely to affect you. Let's assume you are cramming, because even the answer will surely be part of all the options that you are having. So if you know, you know.
Okay.
So when people come up with some of these things as excuse for exams, what are people that are scored above 300?
Well, their situation could be different. There could be high flyers naturally.
I want to tell you that
several factors could work out for them.
I want to tell you that when I saw people complain about some of these things, it's not the major. It's not a major cause or a cause to be reckoned with, as to do with performance.
Well, that's one. Location, timing is one that lots of persons have talked about.
You will have worked on it. You will have worked on it before that day.
Some persons say, oh, they don't have the resources to lodge, their child or their ward somewhere over the night for that purpose. But that's one. That location, timing is one. Another reason and that factor, looking at the JAMB from a JAMB point of view now, could be the computer itself. There was this report of a particular center where candidates, as soon as they were done, started vandalizing, the facility because they said the computers were slow, they were hanging, they weren't effective. As a matter of fact, I think JAMB also did, mention that they were going to do a review of those such centers to see what works. Is that something too that you think might have been responsible, maybe not in high percentage, but responsible for the low performance?
If there are glitches,
yes,
and there are service problems and
yes,
all that, do you know that those candidates that eventually vandalized those that center will have still been able to put their complaints forward, and probably JAMB will have even considered them, considering the fact that the tool, what made the bad news to go round will still be what will make the positive news to go round. Parents, you need to see Nigerian parents. I took my own kids for JAMB. You need to see Nigerian parents, how passionate people were taking their children for exam. This is joy of parenting. So when I see people complain about it, I laugh. Yesteryears that people grow older to write JAMB 1920, but now the education is faster and we are encouraging it, that we should give them. Are you aware that I fought for candidates that are below 16? I think you are aware.
Yeah, sure.
That I fought for people below 16, and what I want JAMB to do is that people below 16, if they can give us analysis of their score, because what my own position was that there are candidates that are very smart that are below 16, and don't shut them out.
I think they did state that 40,247 underage candidates were permitted to take part in the exam, and then only 467 of that 40,000, that's 1% of these candidates achieve scores that meet the threshold for exceptional ability as defined by the by the board.
But don't be surprised that majority of the people that are supposed to write JAMB that are below 16, most especially in those inner states, they were discouraged not to go on. You know why? The reason is that the negative news that came by, discouraged a lot of people from participating in this year's JAMB because of the negativity. So let's allow people, in fact, let people do it early, people that can afford it, so that they will understand what it is to be able to be ready for the coming year.
Go through it. Let's now shift the attention real quick to parents. Yeah, you did mention that you took your kids to yourself and you saw firsthand the passion, the joy on the faces of parents who took their kids there. But beyond, that's the date of the examination. Let's talk the preparation for the examination itself. What role should parents play? Do you think parents have done well enough, and that could be a factor for the results we have today?
Now, I said government, I said parents, schools, I said school management. Now, let's start from government. Government understand that their role is to have an educated society. Because if you have an educated society, the resources that you are going to deploy for security is going to be reduced. Because the higher the people get educated, the relatively low rate of crime
and poverty.
So that's number one. Government should do more, because they should understand that when they sponsor programs that has to do with, with things that are not relevant, basically to the discovery of innovation and growth of humanitarian society, it will, we will, at the end of the day, we'll be tweeting or bending towards a society of playful people, dancers and all that, and that will not lead to innovation.
But respectfully to dancers are very educated people too. We are
not saying education. Entertainment is not what gave us Bob. So as a society,
doesn't have to be
we should, as a society, we should balance it. Now, hold on, I'm talking about
balancing that.
I'm talking about this thing. Now, for companies, we should understand that we should not just face. I'm not saying entertainment as a whole is it has a very good advantage for human psychology. Economically, to balance their psyche and all that.
Yes.
But what we are saying is that government, as people that has the data of yesterday, today, and the future of the country they want to build, while we are encouraging people to go into a specific industry, we should encourage them to go into the futuristic industry for us to have a competitive society. Now, all these things that we're learning from other clients, in fact, we are exporting our own culture right now because people are accepting our culture, which is a good one for us.
Yeah, through music.
Through entertainment and music. It's a very good one for us. But what I'm saying is that the moment government is balancing it, the government is encouraging that, they should encourage education. Because if we cannot produce, we will be left to consume what other nations are. And the truth must be said. If we are not saying it, last year we were shouting about this call, that all of us, let's look inward. And now we are here, the same thing. The number of people that are going to be qualified as chemists, number of people that are going to be qualified as medical doctors, number of people that are going to be qualified. Who is going to, when everybody is becoming, we do other courses that are not related to probably science. Who are the people that are going to treat us in the hospitals? Who are the people that are going to treat us as public health people to prevent us from diseases? You saw what happened in COVID. So as a society, government role is to balance. Look at the future, look at the trend. If the number of people that are qualified to do sciences are reducing, encourage STEM, sponsor STEM, even for companies. When you want to do programs, when you are putting in a particular sector, you should remember other sectors for humanitarian growth.
All right.
So that if we do not, The implication is that we'll be left with society that, okay, do you want us to be importing pharmacists in the next 10 years? Because all of us has run to a particular sector of the economy.
Well, the United Kingdom, for example, the United States, some other climes have lots of Nigerians as medical doctors, as nurses, medical professionals there, and they're doing well. Really.
Because they can afford it.
Oh well.
Because they have better societal plans and whatever benefit for those people. If I tell you majority of the people living abroad working as expats, if home is sweet, if we have those benefits that people get abroad, we have it here. I tell you 80% of those people living abroad that are Nigerian professionals would rather live in Nigeria.
That's for government, very quickly, because of
for
time.
the parents.
Yes.
For the parents, we have failed as parents.
In what way?
To understand the priorities. Now, you saw that some parents are very okay. Their children have 300 and above. Even some of those people that have 300 and above, they are doing SAT. They are not even schooling in Nigeria. But for the fact that they've been able to groom their children, some schools are running for JAMB now.
Why?
They are running because they will encourage children to do SAT or do other foreign exams, because they know if they sit for JAMB, most of them will not pass. Because some schools have big names, low level of academic sagacity. That's one. Two is that parenting, we should try as much as possible to understand the fact that it is how you raise your own child. If you want to produce a medical doctor, you work for it. If you want to produce professionals, you work for it. If you want to produce people that are programmers, you work for it. But there are some things that are not basically professional line. Because if you want to do a course that is not professional line, all courses are important. Even the person that pumps your tire outside is a very important person in the scheme of things. But what I'm saying is that there are some courses, there are some profession that does not require professional certification. It is open to everybody because it does not require special skills. We should not let our interest be too much on those. Those ones that require professional skills has to do with lives. It has to deal with human lives, and apart from that, has to do with some other vital things that help society to grow. So therefore, parents should try. You know, yesteryears, Yoruba families will say, I want you, everybody, they want them to be doctors. Nigerian educated families want their children to be doctors. That is why we are able to produce those medical doctors that you see that we export, which is a good one for us as a country. That's why you go to the US, you see Nigerian medical doctors, Nigerian medical practitioners, Nigerian nurses performing very well in America, in Canada, in Saudi Arabia, in London, in UK, and almost everywhere in the world. Now, if we are not increasing the numbers of those knowledge that we had yesterday, Baba Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Ahmadu Bello, they were able to build institutions that can build these people. But now we should not let it fail in our own climb. So parents, our duty is to make sure that we reduce the television time, as it has to do with things that are not educative for students. Now, the mobile gadget that you have, numerous NSW, it is a free on air. They can watch anything in the world. That is not good for a children without restriction. So we should make sure that we restrict these children, not that they will have the phone with them 24/7. Time for study should be known for time for study. Now, I have a news for all Nigerian parents. And this is the first time I'll say it. And I will create this awareness. I saw the Minister for Education and the Ministry of Federal Education that regulates the, education in Nigeria.
Yes.
They said that they want to start WAEC on CBT in WAEC.
Yeah.
Do you know the implication? What your children need is laptops, is the typing skills. There are different massive beacon tools that you need to type, the typing skills, and you know your Word document so well. So it's not time to give your children tablets to watch anything. It's a time to teach them on how to type and tap fastly at that. And now I want to tell you again that I know that if a system is going to be, if an exam is going to be conducted that is CBT written, there is every likely that there will not be spelling corrections on it, on the app. So therefore, you must master your spellings. They cannot ask you to write an essay and your essay autocorrect will not be there. That is, we are saying all these things. We have a year for every Nigerian parent. We have a year to work on this thing and make sure that we solve this problem by helping the pupils, by helping the schools should have computers. We should make sure that we check their speech time. How many words can you type in a minute? We give them things to type. We, make them practice so well so that we will not record worse results in WAEC. We have a year. They said we are preparing for 2026. So this is a year. Nobody will say, I'm not aware. The schools, the parents,
yes,
don't buy phones for children. Buy computers for them.
Would this not be the major problem as we close, for lot of students and candidates who want to write? Because how do we deal? We can talk about this, for city candidates, those in big cities, but we have lots too in rural communities who will not have access to computers, whose parents cannot even afford a phone. I'm talking the smallest phone, not talk about
that is why we are saying that NGOs, mosques, churches, private organizations, politicians, what we should encourage people to do now is to either have their own personal or we have community centers. Every city has a community center. So we will deploy that. They should deploy what they should do. The traditional rulers, the community leaders, is community center that has computers for training from GSS 1 to SS3. But majorly, people that are writing WAEC next year, we should make sure that as they are preparing, they are using their computer-based, and the examination organizers, the WAEC of this world, and they should give them mock exams, give them prototype of how the exams will be.
Yeah.
It should start from now so that people will have a 1-year training time to be able to understand how the exam will flow.
Long way to go, definitely, but we've got to go as well. It's been an interesting conversation, talking first about the conducts and the results, especially of the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination 2025 conducted by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board. I've been speaking with Dr. Ujikutu Adeniyi, public policy analyst, who's joined me today to have this conversation. I'd like to thank you very much for coming to the studio and for having this conversation with me. And,
thank you very much.
You've heard to the future is computer-based, right? As a matter of fact, for many countries in the world, the present right now is computer-based, and Nigeria is tapping into that already, especially with examinations in the country. And so parents do well to begin to look in that direction. But again, as observed, rural communities will need to be served, and so they don't become, even further underserved when it comes to technology. We'll keep having this conversation, but thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Stop by the comment section, let me know what you think, and indeed, I'll be reading and responding to your comment regarding this subject matter. Until next time, Homo Politicus, make sure you're safe. Kingsley Bass is my name. I will say God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Bye for now.